Hello there, I'm Debbie Jones and a very warm welcome to the TV Cruise Channel's guide to cruise destinations. Now, whether you choose to cruise from the UK or maybe opt for a fly cruise, there are thousands of destinations just waiting for you to explore. You can cruise from city to city, island to island, or completely off the beaten track to explore the wonders of the world. So in this programme, we're going to take you on a journey of discovery, and to guide us across the globe is the cruise industry expert. I say the because I think he's fabulous. It's Andy Harmer from the Cruise Lines International Association. Great to be with you again.
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you.
I know you should have come down in smoke sitting on a throne.
I did request.
I'll sort it for next time. So good to have you here today.
Thank you.
There really are more cruise destinations than anyone would ever know. So we're just going to talk quickly through some of them. And we'll start off with Northern Europe. Can you give us some of the destinations there?
Sure. Actually, Northern Europe is one of our fastest growing destinations for Brits to cruise to. So,
really?
Yeah, absolutely. It's our second most popular destination in terms of cruising in 2015. So it includes places like the Baltic region and the beautiful Norwegian fjords.
So, yeah.
But it also includes some of those ports closer to the UK, so whether that's Hamburg or Bruges, for example, and some of those shorter cruises that you can do from Southampton or Dover. So there's lots of choice of destination.
And does it include... Just say Bruges.
Yes.
I didn't realise that was a sort of cruise destination.
Absolutely.
Because I've been there, not
and it's
cruising.
Beautiful.
It's just stunning.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's one of my favourite places in Europe.
I didn't realise that. You've taught me something there. And of course, this might be better for someone that wants somewhere nearer to home for their first cruise.
Yeah, so most people who go to cruise to Northern Europe will do so from a UK port. So you can drive or get the train or a taxi to the port, fill the car with as much luggage as you wish. There's no airport restrictions, of course. Jump on the ship and you can start your holiday straight away to most of them. Or what you can do in some cases, particularly with the Baltic, you might want to take a short flight over to somewhere like Copenhagen or to Stockholm, and you can start your cruise there. What's great about the Baltic, I love the Baltic because all of the cities, all of those key attraction cities are built on the sea. So there's no transfers to where
you see. That's great,
it's like every day's a school day.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So Stockholm, Helsinki, the beautiful St. Petersburg and all of the history there. These are all places where you literally, the ship parks and you're right there in the heart of things. So the Baltic's great. I love Stockholm. And actually what's nice about Stockholm is you sail out of the port. There's a archipelago of about 200 islands. It's a really beautiful sail away.
Yeah.
So do make sure when you're sailing out to Stockholm that you're up on deck and that you're watching the scenery.
Well, there
it's beautiful.
We go. Something that I certainly never realised. That sounds like a great destination.
It's great, yeah.
The Caribbean.
Wow, complete contrast over to the Caribbean. So the Caribbean, of course, famous year-round sunshine. So you can take a Caribbean cruise at any time in the year. The majority of them start from Florida. So the most popular port being Miami. But there are other ports along that coast as well. 7 or 14 night cruises, or even a short 2 or 3 night cruise that you can do from somewhere like Port Canaveral, which is really nice to do, breaking up your holiday in Florida. The islands are, of course, beautiful. But what's interesting about the Caribbean is that each island has its own personality and feels very different. So a lot of people worry that you're going to see some islands and they're going to blend into each other. They don't at all. They all have their own character. They're great to fly to cruise and flop. So you sail into a beautiful island, spend the day on the beach.
Cruise and flop.
Exactly.
You've been watching me.
So you can get off the ship and you can head to a local beach and enjoy the beach atmosphere. But a lot of them have some great interiors as well. So there's some rainforest, for example, that you can trek in some of the bigger islands, but also some good shopping, some interesting food to taste. So really it is a great holiday. But again, many people head to the Caribbean to cruise and flop.
Oh, it sounds lovely. And a complete contrast now. Alaska.
Wow, again.
Yeah.
You really are taking me around the globe quite quickly. Yeah. So I love Alaska. It's one of those amazing destinations that for me, you know, ticks every box. So generally the weather in the summer is great. Actually, a lot of people don't expect it to be.
I thought it might be a bit cold.
No, it can get really warm. It can get really warm. I'm not guaranteeing it, of course. But the season in Alaska is quite short because it does get cold quite early in the year. So May through to September is the cruising season. It does get colder as you head towards September, and it still starts quite cool, but midsummer is a beautiful time to go with blue skies, hopefully blue skies.
Oh, how lovely.
And what's great about Alaska is you can sail out of either San Francisco, for example, or you can sail out of Vancouver or Seattle, so you get the choice. Most ships sail out of Vancouver because it's a shorter cruise up.
Yes.
And the scenery and the wildlife is just spectacular. So unlike the Baltic is very much about the cities and the history and the places you visit. The Caribbean, very much about a relaxing beach style holiday. Alaska is very different to both of those because it's about the scenery and the wildlife. So the cities aren't packed with attractions and places of interest like the Baltic is or Northern Europe is, but it is packed with great wildlife and scenery, some whale watching that you can do while you're up there.
Absolutely wonderful. I'd love to see that. And now sort of another jump closer to home. What about round Britain? Because a lot of people don't think there's where would you go around Britain?
Do you know, and again, one of those destinations, one of those cruise destinations that's really growing very quickly. And I think it's because it's great to cruise close at home because you don't have to worry about flying again. So not only are Brits cruising around Britain, but an increasing number of foreign travellers are also coming to Britain to cruise around, to experience some of our heritage and some of our culture and some of our food. So about 1 million people went through UK cruise ports last year. So it's a huge number. It is a lot of people. And
is it mainly people from abroad or British people?
So it's mainly overseas guests. It's mainly American guests. But actually, the number of Brits going around Britain is growing year on year.
And what do they call? What are the ports called?
So most of them will sail out of local ports. So Southampton is our busiest port in the UK, but there are other regional ports available as well. And they tend to take in places like Liverpool, which is a great city to visit. I don't know if you know anything about...
Oh, stop it. Now, the great thing about Liverpool is you pull up now, there's a fabulous new cruise terminal, and you get off and there's the Liver buildings. It's wonderful.
It is a great setting.
It is a wonderful setting.
And it's a great city, a really friendly, great city. But you will often visit Dublin and Belfast and Edinburgh and Glasgow and Tyneside and so on and so forth. In fact, there are 52 ports in the UK alone that you can visit. 52.
No.
Yes.
52? Now, I just thought it was sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that.
Now, the majority of those are in Scotland, where some of the smaller ships do some island hopping. Particularly places like Orkney, that's very popular indeed for cruising. But there are some great ports, some great places to visit.
Well, you've got me sold on that. What about the Atlantic Islands?
Yeah, so the Atlantic Islands is one of our most popular destinations. Again, it's probably our 5th most popular cruise destinations, and that's particularly because in the winter months it's a great sunshine destination for us. Now there are two ways to get there. You can cruise down from Southampton or other UK ports, so you can again drive to the port, fill your cabin with all your luggage and set sail, and it takes a couple of days to get down there. But what's great about those couple of days is that you get to understand the ship and explore the ship and get to know where everything is and to really relax. The alternative is to fly to one of the bigger Canary Islands such as Tenerife and jump on the ship there, so that you fly and you're instantly in the sunshine and you start your cruise that way. But again, what's great about, I don't know if you've been down to the Canary Islands, but what's great is each of the islands is very different.
So how many are there Atlantic Islands?
So there's about there's the Canary Islands. The other popular stopover is Madeira, which is a beautiful place. But also, if you do sail down from the UK rather than fly, the ship will also tend to stop in a Spanish or Portuguese port on the way down or on the way up.
Maybe Lisbon?
Maybe Lisbon. Well, it's tucked a little bit out of the way, but many do. Or there's some great ports along that coastline, whether it's northern Spain or Portugal. So wouldn't it be lovely
for Christmas or New Year, do you think?
Very popular for that reason, yeah. So some sunshine, some great food on board, some great company and entertainment on board, and you're there for Christmas and New Year. What sounds good, doesn't it?
Oh, I think I might be looking at that, because our daughter's going to be away riding in Australia, possibly. So,
there you go.
So do stay with us, because we're going to be back looking at some more lovely destinations with Andy in just a few minutes. Hello and welcome back to TV Cruise Channel's guide to cruise destinations. I've got Andy Harmer from the Cruise Lines International Association with me. He is a positive fount of knowledge. If you don't know it, it's not worth knowing.
Well, thank you.
Now we've had a little look at the Caribbean, Alaska, around Britain and everything. Antarctica.
Gosh.
Tell me a bit about Antarctica.
So yes, a rather more specialist destination, I'd say. So what you would need... Is
that for nature watchers?
Oh, it absolutely is, because it's a part of the world that most people don't get to explore, and actually seeing it by ship is one of the few ways that you can see it. So what you will tend to do is fly down to South America. You'll head to a little place called Ushuaia, which is right at the southern tip of South America, and from there you'll jump on your smaller ships. So it's smaller ships, they tend to be ice strengthened hulls, so that if they do encounter any ice, then all is safe and good, and you get to then head across to the Antarctica Peninsula. That's how most people do it. Now where you stop and what you see will be weather dependent, because it is an unpredictable part of the world, of course, weather-wise, but you will see some incredible scenery, and by scenery I mean all of that ice and all of that wonderful wildlife. It really is a trip of a lifetime. So yes, it's worth having a look at.
So that's worth a balcony stateroom, isn't it, really?
It's absolutely worth pushing the boat out, because it's something you'll probably only do once. And it is really, really special. Now, of course, the waters can get a little bit choppy, so if you're not a sailor or you don't feel as if you've got good sea legs, then it may not be the destination for you. But there are plenty more destinations, of course, to explore.
What sort of wildlife do you see there, Andy?
More penguins than you can shake a stick at, of course, although actually most of them tend not to be on the Antarctica Peninsula. They tend to be in other parts. The sea life there is incredible. And what most people come back from the cruise there and talk about is the colours. The blue sky contrasting with the whiteness of the land and the ice and everything.
Sounds absolutely beautiful.
It is, incredible
so that
place.
Really is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. What about Asia and Australasia?
Yeah, again, growing in popularity significantly, so a lot more ships now being built for the region. It really is one to watch, if you like. An incredibly diverse destination. So, it's very difficult to talk about China in one sentence, because each of the different parts are so different. I love China, for example, so Shanghai and Beijing, the opportunity to visit the Great Wall, the opportunity to get into that Chinese culture is incredible in the north. I love Singapore, that's growing very quickly. Places like Borneo, really, really different experience to those other places. It's all about the wildlife.
City and that sort of thing.
The diversity there in that region is incredible. And what's great about going on a cruise to see the area is that you're looked after. So those excursions and all of those trips out, you're really looked after by the ship, because you won't recognise any of the words or street names and places. It's a complete, of course, it contrasts very differently to what we're used to in the West.
Well, I went to Chongqing. I landed in Beijing, went to Chongqing. It was business, and it was amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So shore excursions really are a must.
Oh, and absolutely, because you really do get to see the places that you've gone all that way to see. I love the food. The people are fantastic. It's a great cruise destination.
And also, because it's up and coming, I would imagine, I don't know, I may be wrong, but it's good value for money, because they're still trying to entice people across to go on them.
Well, certainly because on a cruise you will see 4 or 5 or 6 different destinations. It's a great way to explore the whole region, and that's a fantastic way to do it. The other way, of course, to do Asia is on a river cruise. So cruises on the Mekong, for example, or cruises on the Yangtze up in China is a great way to see those places. Smaller ships, of course, to an ocean ship. You visit lots of places along the rivers. Fantastic.
Gosh, it sounds brilliant. Oh, I want to go on holiday now. Now, what about the Arabian Gulf?
Yeah, again, an up-and-coming region. Again, an area actually of quite diverse things to do. So Dubai, everybody's heard of Dubai.
Yes.
Very famous destination, a great city, very modern, lots of air conditioning, great shopping, great hotels, great beaches, actually.
Yeah.
And that contrasts quite a lot with places like Oman and even Abu Dhabi, where it's much more traditional. It's much more about the sense.
Abu Dhabi, I was in, where was I? Qatar. Doing pantomime last year. I was the Wicked Witch.
Were you really?
Oh, yes, I was. Yeah. In Snow White.
Wow.
I loved Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, I mean, great cities along there.
Yeah.
Great deserts to explore as well. So do try and get out from the port area and jump onto one of those excursions that includes the dunes, you know, even having lunch in one of those, you know, traditional tents and traditional settings. Some of them have those traditional souks and shopping areas.
Oh, they are amazing.
Which are incredible.
Amazing. They're just wonderful. Is there a best time to go? When is the best time to go, maybe?
So it tends to be out of season. So have a look at a sort of later in the year. So Mediterranean is great in the summer months because that's when our weather is best. And actually, I love September and October in the Mediterranean, and then that's when you want to look at the low season in the Middle East. Yeah.
Now, what about North America?
Again, one of my favourites.
You love everywhere.
I do love everywhere.
In the business, and you've been everywhere.
Maybe not everywhere, but I'm certainly on my list to do. So again, contrasting way of seeing North America. So you have the East Coast, and if you think of New York and heading upwards to New England, great to do in August, September, October during the fall.
New England
is a beautiful area to do, and most cruisers will go from New York. Great for shopping, great for eating out, great for all of those New York experiences. And they tend to go through New England and finish up in Quebec. So you end up in a Canadian city, and it's a great Canadian city, actually. Very nice. The eastern seaboard of North America down to Florida is a popular route for a lot of people because there's some great cities along there. Same with the west coast, where you've got San Francisco and Los Angeles and Mexico, all the way up to Alaska. So
now, what about Hawaii? Is that?
I love Hawaii. It's there, and there are cruise lines that feature Hawaii. And what's great about a cruise, of course, is that you don't just stay on one island; you get to see all of them. So some of those Hawaiian cruises, you'll cruise from the west coast of America. It's a couple of days across the islands, and then you can enjoy yourself in Hawaii.
Oh, it just all sounds wonderful. So we've done North America. What about South America?
Yeah, and it's again growing in popularity. Again, a destination of real diversity, so lots of different cultures, lots of food. A lot of people head there for things like Rio Carnival, so there's lots of ships will come to Rio for Carnival, so that you, as a cruise guest, you can get to enjoy the Carnival season. What tends to happen, we tend to break up South America into two different parts. There's the eastern side and the western side, and what happens is you can cruise down the west coast and then back up the east, or if you don't have time, you can do one half of it.
And what about Peru and Ecuador?
Beautiful.
Because I've watched nature programs on TV, and the Ecuadorian forest, and it's just amazing, isn't it?
And what a lot of cruise lines will do is add on that land package. So if you want a couple of days to really explore the place where you're joining your cruise from, you can do that with the cruise line. One of the up and coming destinations in that whole area is the Chilean fjords. They are a beautiful stretch of nature. Only worth seeing on a cruise ship, but there's loads of different places. Oh,
lovely. Now, we haven't covered the Mediterranean. I mean, I know we do chat about that a lot on other programmes, but the Mediterranean always has been, always will be incredibly popular with the British.
Yeah, our most popular destination for cruising by far. So about 4 out of 10 people who take a cruise holiday will do so in the Mediterranean.
It's a huge percentage.
It is, and rightly so, actually. It's a beautiful place to cruise. So we tend to break the Mediterranean up into two bits. There's the Western Mediterranean, so Barcelona, south of France, that Italian coast, including Rome and Livorno and Florence and all those beautiful places. The Eastern Med, which includes the other coast of Italy, the beautiful Croatian coast down to Dubrovnik, Kotor, Montenegro. Stunning.
It's amazing because it's somewhere that 10 years ago I wouldn't have heard the word Dubrovnik or Croatia, come out of a travel person's lips.
But beautiful.
But now everyone's saying it's wonderful.
Yeah, and really easy to explore, of course, on a cruise. And what's great about the Mediterranean, it doesn't matter how many times you go on a cruise holiday in the Mediterranean. I've done it a few times. You always find a port that you may not have visited before, or that wasn't necessarily on your list, that surprises you. And that's what's great about the Med, is there are so many different ports and islands and places to explore. You can do it so many times. You'll always find something new and something different to explore, and that's what I love about the Med.
What's your favourite port in the Med, if you had to nail colour to the mast?
I couldn't say that, but I love Livorno, actually. So you go to Livorno for Pisa and Florence, but actually what I did last time I went to Livorno, which was this summer, is that I went, we did a vineyard tour up into Tuscany. It was a beautiful cloudless sky, and we sat in the vineyard and we were served the wines that was produced in the vineyard, the local hams and cheeses and meats and breads and everything. It was fantastic. But if you've never been to places like Florence or Pisa before, make sure you do. Oh,
that sounds wonderful. And just a quick finish with maybe world cruising.
Yeah, I mean, so a full world cruise is about 3 months, sometimes a little longer. So it's obviously for people who've got a bit of time on their hands. They tend to leave at the beginning of a year, so January time, and that then takes them through for the 3 months. You are obviously looked after, wined and dined for the entire time. I
was going to say, you would, unless you're very careful and visit that gym, you would put on some beef.
But well, the great thing is, of course, you visit so many fantastic destinations that you can jump off the ship and do a lovely walking, wandering around Sydney, or visiting places like Singapore or Bangkok or Hawaii, or, I mean, you know, the places that you visit are incredible.
Cruise. And I suppose after a week or 2 or 3, you start to self-regulate and get so used to the lifestyle that you get a little bit more normal about eating and drinking.
I'm not sure I would. I think I'd be tempted all the way around. But no, and again, very popular amongst Brits who love to have that extended cruise. And some of the days, there are extended periods at sea where you can really relax and enjoy the seascape. There are other times where you're visiting these incredible places that, you know, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, so anyone thinking about a world cruise, I mean, they're wonderful, but you better start saving now. I mean, realistically, when you consider you'd be paying your council tax, your heating, your lighting, everything else.
Probably cheaper on a ship.
It's probably cheaper on a ship.
Absolutely.
Anyway, listen, this has been so informative. Thank you very much indeed, Andy. So thanks to Andy, and also thanks to you for watching. I'll see you next time here on the TV Cruise Channel.